Waiting for this to go live. Hello, hello, hello. Admit. I see I got somebody to admit. Hey, Sister Ralph, how are you doing? Just going to send invites to some people to see if they want to be a part of this discussion. I'm going to ask Ralph, how are you? Hey. Doing? Good. Fine. Good. Send invites to some people to see if they want to be a part of this discussion. I'm going to ask Ralph, how are you? Doing? Good. Hey. I'm going to ask you to mute your microphone, Sister Rao, if you don't mind. I'm going to ask you to. Did I freeze? I don't know what I did here. I'm trying to see if I froze. For some reason, I think on Facebook I am frozen. All right. Okay. On Facebook, can y'all see me? Hello, Sister Hodges. Those persons watching on Facebook, can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to have to. Okay. All right. Can you all, those of you on Facebook, can you see me? Can you hear me? It looks like I'm frozen here. I don't know what's going on. It looks like I'm frozen. I'm trying to unfreeze myself. This is why I want to try and use. Hey, Sister Hodges. Hello. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. Can y'all see me on Facebook? Can you see me? Those of you on Facebook, I'm through StreamYard. Can you all type something or write something so I'll know who's there? Because I don't have my little tab. Hold on one second. Let me get my little tab. Hello, I see you. Okay, hey David. How are you doing? Let me attempt to go in this way. And see what's going on. Give me a minute and see if it lets me in on my own thing. Okay, it's not. Hold on. Hold on. Let me just do this. Let me just do this. There we go. That's the easiest way to do that. All right. So either one y'all tag into. Hey, brother David, Sister Ralph, you see me. Thoughtful Thursdays. Okay. Okay. So here we are. So on last week we talked about the impact of that sexual molestation, sexual abuse is having on our children and in relationships and um, how it affects us going forward and the impact that it has had. And I had gotten surprisingly a lot of feedback, a lot of inboxes, and we are hoping that more people will come on. It has been a taboo, and a lot of people, not all of it was positive in the beginning. A lot of people said, it's a sensitive subject, and some women were like, how dare you as a man begin to talk? Well, men have been sexually abused too. Anything that's just because I haven't been if that's the case, then only murdered people should talk about the evil of being murdered, if that's the case. And so sometimes somebody has to be a voice for the voiceless, for those who are afraid. And again, only silly people fight while a house is burning down. And so our house is burning down, and people are arguing about who is right or wrong to broach a subject or to have the topic of conversation come up. That just seems asinine to me. And so I think it is something that needs to be talked about. I think it is something that needs to be discussed. Today, somebody sent, I got about 6 or 7 videos today. One where a young man was beating up another young man who tried to lure his niece into a basement. Another video where a husband and wife had come home and their child hadn't been sexually abused, but she had broken bones, and the only person who was there was the girl's mother. I saw that video. And so we have to do more to protect our children. And certainly somebody who inboxed me and we were having discussion back and forth talked about the effect and the impact that drugs, when you have your children around people who are alcoholics and drug addicts, and stuff like that. One young lady told me about the fact that her mother and father were both crackheads and would sell her to and let drug dealers and whomever, people for money, abuse her, have sex with her. And that just kind of what it did to her mentally and emotionally and spiritually and physically, and the impact it has had on her life. And so the subject of what sexual molestation has done to our children and the impact it has had on them, and those who are in my age group who are still dealing with issues, those persons who are married, and the impact that it may be having on their marriage. Take for example, so let's say, I don't think every argument that happens in a marriage that winds up leading to divorce, that argument, all of the things that are said in that argument are about the thing that started the argument. I don't believe that. I don't I don't believe that. I think that a lot of those things, I think that a lot of times those things come as a result of some other issues. Let's say, for instance, I spill this water on the floor. Well, I'm going to pour it into this flower pot. So I spill some water on the floor. And my wife or my girlfriend comes home and she pitches a fit about the water I spilled on the floor. And she goes on for about 2 hours about the water that I spilled on the floor. Trust me, only 15 minutes of her yelling is about me spilling water on the floor. An hour and 45 minutes of her yelling is her getting out the anger at the people who betrayed her, raped her, molested her, or did whatever to her. Because you can't tell me nobody in their right mind, no sane person who has not been through some type of mental, emotional, physical abuse would yell for 2 hours about water being spilled on the floor. But the other hour and 45 minutes of their yelling or fussing is towards the person who hurt them, the persons who didn't protect them, the persons who betrayed them, and trying to get out some of that other anger. But if I don't know you've been hurt or molested or you're angry at somebody, if I don't know that, then my thing is, well, dang it, I'm married, I'm dating a crazy woman. She went on for 2.5 hours about me spilling a cup of water on the floor. Guess what? I'm out the door. Next week, she starts dating Bob. Guess what happened? She do the same thing. Guess what? Bob is out the door. 5 guys later, out the door. Then she's on Facebook. All of these men ain't no good. Hold up. You don't say that. Well, 5 different men I dated, I fussed at them for 3 hours about spilling water on the floor, leaving the refrigerator open, leaving the toilet seat up. What she won't say or what he won't say is, hey, listen, as a child, I was taken advantage of. And I have a lot of anger. I have a lot of trust issues. So therefore, you may do something where it's warranted, where I yell for 5 minutes, but I might yell for 15 minutes. I might yell for 2 hours. You might do something where it's warranted, that it's silence dynamic, that a deep wound. That's right. Or you may do something that warrants, or my child may do something that warrants me just giving a spanking of 2 licks and I halfway kill them because they're trying to get out that other anger. And so you build up all of these failed relationships, and instead of saying the source of my failed relationships is this anger, this hurt, this betrayal, this me wanting and needing to confront some people who either I was afraid to confront, I'm afraid to confront them even still now, or this and that. And so I'm going to take it out on you. And so that's why these conversations become important. That's why these conversations are essential. And so someone sent me the thing about the pastor in Chicago who was raping and molesting some sisters. And I posted it up, and anybody said, oh, well, you shouldn't put pastors on. He did that. I didn't do that, for one. And they thought I was being negative about the church and pastors. And my thing is, so it's easier for you to read about pastor molest girls for 15, 20 years than it is for you to have a conversation. And another pastor who I deleted said, well, God will reveal it. Really? And so you mean God want those little girls to get raped and molested? God is okay with that? I was like, you and your God go kick rocks. Whatever God is okay with that type of abuse and neglect, you and him go kick rocks. God know for almost 20 years. So we can't keep saying subjects are sensitive and not talk about them. We can't keep saying, well, let's wait till when? When are we waiting for? People are getting divorced. Homosexuality and lesbianism is on the rise. This stuff is coming from someplace. People want to change. Some of these people who want to have these sex changes isn't because they feel like, and I'm talking about the older people, isn't because they feel like there's a girl inside and I'm a boy outside, or I'm a boy outside. It is because they've been turned inside out. Their world has been turned upside down. And some of this stuff is passed on to their children. I mean, nobody's talking about the fact that Charlize Theron adopted 2 little black boys and she's raising them like they're 2 little girls. There's some sexual molestation in her past. I don't care what anybody says. She had to have been sexually compromised, and nobody protected her. So she said, I'm going to raise these 2 little boys as girls and I'm going to protect them. You can't tell me a little 3-4-year-old boy, 6-7-year-old boy came to you when they said, listen, mommy, I think I'm a girl inside. Raise me like a girl. Put me in braids and a dress. Really? Come on. Will Smith and Jada. I forget the entanglement. Look at how they're Dwayne Wade. Look at what Gabrielle. That's just crazy. They were broke up. He had a baby by another woman. Y'all got back together. You saw that new contract he was signing. You got back together. The child you had from him, you ain't raising that child opposite of their sex. You're not encouraging that stupidity. Come on. So then what allows this to happen is society. It is people not only staying silent, but then society promoting it. Society, white society, and white folks saying, well, hey, it's okay. You're going to be all right. You have to express yourself. Oh, no, they got to man up. And then, so either through incarceration, they're putting us in a situation where black people can't procreate, or through the promotion of taking advantage of the fact that people have been sexually molested and are having identity crisis, sexual identity crisis, and they're promoting, oh yeah, you can come out the closet, yeah, you can live this way, instead of saying, nah, listen, we understand what happened to you, but let's get you some help, let's get you some therapy. You are a man, you need to live as a man because you need to procreate with women. Woman, I know you've been molested, I know you've been hurt, but listen, you're a woman, we need to get you some therapy, we need to get you some help, get you some counseling, get you some prayer, but you need to live as a woman and have a healthy, loving relationship with a man and procreate. And don't tell me about that artificial insemination crap. That was the setup. With the test tube babies. Remember when they started that crap in the 70s and 80s? Come on, listen. So this is another tool that is used, because sexual molesters, they don't get a whole lot of time. They don't get a whole lot of time. Some of them don't even go to prison. Some get probation. Some may do 2-3 years. Okay, you gotta register as a sex offender. What does that do? That does what? So now you know where they at. Okay, you know where they at. So they live over here, they live away from the school, but they can't travel to the school. They don't know how to get to a school. So I think the issue of sexual molestation to our children and our families and our communities has to be dealt with and has to be talked about, especially from the black church, by the black church, and from the African American pulpit. And I think we do a great disservice um, when we don't. There was a couple of people who I had invited to come on that I thought would have been on. They told me they were going to be on because they wanted to share their stories, and one wanted to share some information. I thought they were going to be on Zoom or on Facebook Live, but um, they're not. They're not on here. Hey, Sister Jakes, I'm not really seeing y'all, so I need y'all to let me know if y'all are on here, and I need you all to type something in the comments box or something so that I'll know you're on here. But that's what has to happen. We have to do a better job. We have to do a better job of protecting our children. We have to. We have to do a better job. Hey, John. Hey, Kathy. Sister Jakes. Hey, Sister Jackson. We have to do a better job of protecting our children. We have to do a better job of watching out for our children. Hey, Sister Mitchell. Hey, Sister Stewart. Brother Wingate. Hey, Sister Brown. We have to do a lot better job of doing that. And if we don't, then we are going to be in serious trouble. We're going to lose a whole generation. To just bash people for their sexual beliefs and identities, without trying to get to some of the root cause of some of the problem as to why they just woke up one morning and said, okay, I'm this or I'm that. I think it's more than just something spiritual. I think it's more than something mental. I think it's more than something emotional. I think it is a result of violent physical action. It is. I mean, if you've been shot 2 or 3 times, you jump every time you hear gunshots or firecrackers. That ain't got nothing to do with anything but, hey, I've been shot. So now I jump when I hear firecrackers or gunfire. So to tell me, oh, well, you a punk because you jump every time you hear a firecracker. Well, I've been shot 3 times. So what do you expect from me? So if a person has been physically abused for years and years and years, and then they're having identity crisis about who they are and what they are, to condemn them for that and just say you are sinning, you're going to hell without really understanding why, that's wrong. But that doesn't mean it's right for them to then still engage in that type of behavior, as well as to promote that type of behavior. Jada Pinkett and Will Smith, money and ratings. Yeah, and it probably is. And it's being fed, and it's being fed and led by Hollywood. There is dollars in the destruction of the black family. Hear what I'm telling you. There is dollars in the destruction of the black family, of the ability to create more black families. From the moment they walked in and told women, put your man out and we'll give you a welfare check, it was time to say farewell to the black family. A lot of mothers, a lot of women, a lot of people took it. It was a setup. There is money to be made. There is dollars to be made. Hey, cousin Julia, in the destruction of the black family. And then you have to be trustworthy of that information. Instead of going to spread it, oh, girl, you know what happened to this one or that one? Her father, his uncle, her mother did this. They need to try to they have to be more confidential with that information. They have to be more trustful and trustworthy with that information. And so we have to be able to create, I said this last week, we have to create a safe space. We have to create an environment that people can talk about their hurts and their pains, and we can save them before they compound what happened to them within their behavior. It's bad enough. Hey, I see you, cousin Julia. It's bad enough that this has happened to them, but now on top of this happening to them, they now go and compound their abuse by becoming abusers or by negative sexual misconduct or promiscuity. It's almost like beating. One young lady told me how she got pregnant by her uncle and her mother beat her for getting pregnant. When she told her who she was pregnant by, she beat her for lying. And guess what? Come to find out, her mother had been molested by an uncle. And instead of her mother dealing with it, she got mad at the girl. And she took the anger out on the young lady. She knew this demon was in her family. She knew this curse was in her family. And she didn't want to confront it. And listen, some of this stuff I'm telling you about, this stuff ain't happened 75, 80, 90 years ago. Some of this has happened recently. Some of these things are happening recently and unfolding right now. Good evening, Earl. Some of this stuff is happening right now. Some of these cases are brand new, where the mother might be 40 or 50 and the daughter is 25 or 30, or the mother is 30, 35 and the daughter is 15, 16. And the mother got pregnant at 14, 15 with a daughter or son because she was molested. Now that daughter is 14 or 15 and pregnant because she was molested. And when that girl goes to that mother and says, well, I'm pregnant, there's a beating. Who you pregnant by? Your hot, fast self. Well, Uncle such and such raped and molested. Now you lying on my brother. Now you lying on your cousin. And there's another beating. So this ain't happening in the olden days. This is still happening. It says my internet connection is unstable. That's why stuff is going in and out and happening, because it looks like it is about to storm here in Orangeburg. So I may lose you all. My stuff may go down and out. We've been losing power over these rainstorms, thunderstorms that have been coming every night. We've been losing power here in Orangeburg, in different parts. So we'll pick up next Thursday, and it can, and that might be the situation with the other folks. A couple of them are from Orangeburg who is going to come on. Power could be out on their side of town as well. Yes, Sister Hodges, it is a demonic cycle. It's a demonic cycle. It's a dangerous cycle. And it's a cycle that we can no longer stay silent on, that we can no longer stay silent about. It's a cycle that if we're going to break it, we have to confront it. And we confront it with care, concern, and conversations. That's how we confront it. Care, concern, and conversations. Let people know we care, that we care about them, that we're not just looking for some gossip. We're concerned about their future. We're concerned about their current condition and status, and we're concerned about their future and how they're going to get healed and be made whole again. And that you can have a conversation with me, and your conversation won't go any further. If you don't want to seek counseling or therapy, you just want to have conversation with me to get all of your anger out, okay. If you want to go and confront the person and have a conversation with them, hey, I'll ride with you. Now, I already told y'all, I'm probably not the person to take with you on that because, yeah, because I don't see an 80-year-old man laying on his bed dying, talking about, oh, well, I'm dead now. I see a rapist. I see a child molester. And so God's got to work on me to have compassion for them. So I'm not the person to take with you if you want to confront the person, because I'm telling you now, a fight going to break out. I might have an iron pipe in my pocket and bust him upside the head. I'm telling you the truth. But find somebody, Sister Ralph shaking her head like, Reverend, you crazy. But find somebody you can take with you to confront that person, a family member, conversation. And the women in the family, men in the family, y'all need to talk, because I'm certain if it's one woman in the family, then it's two. If it's two, it's four. If it's four, it's eight. You are not the only person. You are probably not the only victim of that person. In a lot of cases, you are not the only victim of that person. And so don't think that you are. Don't think that you are alone, because more than likely you are not. Unless you are the first person and somebody caught them and stopped them, don't think that you are, because you are probably not. Hey, Brother Brent, Jeffrey. All right, David, I see you still there. Brother Jeffrey, Brother David, do y'all have anything y'all want to add? Reverend Mitchell, do you have anything y'all want to type in and say? Please feel free to do so. And I know, because I worked in the gay and lesbian community for a lot of years, it was primarily gay and lesbian community. Let me say that. It wasn't all gay and lesbian community. Hey, Sister Alls. It was primarily gay and lesbian community when I worked as a chaplain for people with HIV and AIDS, Regional AIDS Interfaith Network in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Momentum AIDS Project of New York City when I worked with them. Hey, Sister Ransom. So this is something that I've been fighting for years, and a lot of men that I sat and I talked with and I prayed with, and some I encouraged to write letters and mail it to the last known address, said that this is what happened to them. That would not go well, bringing a family member. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it does work well bringing a family member if it is a family member that you know that person respects and cherishes, and a family member that you know would get that person to tell the truth and come clean. It would work. It can work. Give me 1 second. This might be one of them. Yeah, I'm on my line. You outside or something? Hello? Hello? Yeah, I'm on my line. What's up? All right. Yeah, I'm sorry, that was one of the persons who was supposed to be on with us. Um, 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 and that's exactly what they're having. They're having power troubles. Okay. Yeah, they sent me a text message and they just called me. Um, they can't really get on it in case they need their phone. They don't want to use up too much power on their phone because they don't know how long their power is going to be out. Yeah. Hey, Sister Jackson. Right. Our number to call if you want to speak on this subject. Let me type this number in right here. Our number to call if you want to speak, 319-527-2805. And the access code is 811864 hashtag. And give me a second. Let me set the phone line up. If you want to call, yeah. So if you want to share, if you want to talk, please feel free. We are going to put that in over here too. That number is, did I put three? Yeah, I said 319. Yes, 319-527-2805. And the access code is 811864 hashtag. And if you care to share, if you have a question that you want to ask, you can call in. We ask that you ask your question and then let me try to answer it and then clear the line for the next caller. Well, for now, you can use that number for now. That's my conference call phone number. And we're going to start using it on during the week on Wednesday nights for our Bible study and when we do other conference call stuff. So yeah. So please feel free to 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 call if you have something you want to say or share. Um, you know, and then you have people, family members who put other family members in those situations, and they know that Uncle this is or this person is a molester or this or that or whatever the case may be, and they put kids in that, they put each other in those situations, or set people up to get hurt, and it is not okay. It is not good, and we do not talk about the violence in families. We do not talk about the abuse and the neglect in families and that go on in church. And it's got to stop because it is decimating. You hear me? You hear that word I use? It is decimating the African American community. It is damaging our sons, our daughters. It puts our future and future generations in jeopardy. And it makes it difficult, almost impossible for people to have a normal, healthy adult life and relationships. And it's unfair. You pretty much destroy a person's life before they get a chance to start living. And we continually say that it's a sensitive subject in the Black church, and we have to be careful and not to talk about it. And to me, that's just ludicrous. That's just ludicrous. Okay, all right. Verbal abuse also ends up being an issue. Yeah, verbal abuse is a serious issue, and I'm not saying that it's not. And verbal abuse is bad, but of verbal, mental, emotional, physical abuse, the worst one, the worst one is sexual abuse. That's the worst one. Now, I will admit, I preach a sermon where I talk about, grandmama told me sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never harm me. Not saying grandmama was a liar, but grandma ain't hear some of the names that people call me. Grandma ain't hear some of the words folks use that use towards me. And I'm talking about church folk. Grandma, I'm not saying she was wrong, but some of those words, some of those names that they called me hurt. I'm not saying grandma was lying, and maybe she was just trying to make me feel better. Sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. No, I told grandmama believe a white person made that up. Because ain't nobody black make that up. Because black folk know words hurt. And somebody who wasn't afraid of having anybody say any bad words towards them made that up. I would challenge. I would be hard pressed to believe that black folk made up that saying, or maybe they made up that saying. If they did, it was just to help them over, just to help them through for the moment. But they damn well knew better than that. Words hurt like hell, but words also heal. Words break and words put back together. Words divide and words unite, because the power of life and death is in the tongue. I'll admit that. But please, let's not, I don't want to talk about 50 different issues. Verbal abuse, because you can be verbally abused by your brother, your sister, your aunt, and 25 years later, you forget that. So please, let's not convolute too much stuff, because see, that's part of our problem. We fight in 5 and 10 different things. I want to stay focused on one thing: the problem that sexual abuse and the impact it has had on the African American family, in the African American church, and past, present, and future generations of African American children. Let's stay focused. That's what's wrong with the BLM movement. They went from saying we protesting about getting justice for George Floyd, to damn it, the next week they want to burn down churches and statues and City Hall. Well, what the hell are y'all fighting for? I thought I was marching and protesting justice and getting police arrested for standing on a man's neck. Now all of a sudden I'm fighting to get a damn statue I don't care about taken down. No, I'm not going to let y'all do that. We going to stay here. Sister Jackson, you are 100% right. Verbal abuse doesn't compare to sexual abuse. Verbal abuse does not compare to sexual abuse. They're not even in the same ballpark. Unless the verbal abuse is coming from the person who sexually abused you, and they're compounding their rape and their molestation of you by telling you you are nothing, by calling you bad names and making you feel worthless. Other than that, sexual abuse and verbal abuse, please don't try to compare the two. That's not verbal abuse. What I mean is the person tells you and that the answer is shut. That's not verbal abuse. That's denial. Verbal abuse is when I call you out your name and I call you all kind of names, or I yell at you. That's verbal abuse. You trying to tell me my toe hurt and I'm like, shut up, I don't want to hear it. That's not verbal abuse. That's denial. That's called I don't care. Hell, I've been verbally abused. Hell, I've been verbally abused here on Facebook earlier today. I got verbally abused. So sexual abuse is unfortunately the king of a dangerous and violent jungle. It is the worst of the worst of the abuses and the neglects. Hello, Sister Colvin. And so it has the longest lasting impact on its victims. It can wreck their lives and cause them to go down a path where they wreck countless lives, damage countless families. It can impact you. Watch this. Let me show you how sexual abuse can impact you, and you don't even know the abuser or the person who got abused. Watch this. About a year after my father died, I inherited a house from him in Virginia. I was trying to sell the house that I had in Virginia. One day I get a phone call from a friend of mine's, his wife. He had been arrested because he shot his wife's brother for molesting their daughter. Some time went by. This guy was a piece of crap anyway. He had a long criminal record. He had abused several other women in the family. And his church was supporting him, but he needed to be bailed out. So when the market was really, really great, I had got a call saying, hey, they want to buy the house at this rate. I said, okay, cool. The next, about 2 days later, I got a call from my friend, his lawyer and his wife, saying, this is what they need for bail. I ended the sale of the house, let them use it for bail. He went, had a trial, pleaded no contest. He's home doing his thing at home. They gave him some probation and stuff like that, like 20 years probation. The judge, nobody was whatever. So when everything was over with and I could finally sell the house, well, the market had turned around. And instead of coming out making $30,000 more in a good market of what I could have got for the house, I wind up having to let the house go for almost $10,000 to $15,000 less than what my father paid for. I had nothing to do with that. An abuser, his abuse to one person can have ripple effects for years. And you might not even realize that the person who shot this young boy, who shot or robbed or hurt your niece, nephew, grandmother, he's lashing out because he was abused. You won't even make that connection. You say, what's wrong with these boys running around with guns? Well, you know why he got a gun? Because mom and daddy didn't protect him from Uncle Jim, who molested him. Now he has all of this anger. He wants to show he's a man. He go gets a gun, and then he come and he shoot your son. You'll never ever make the connection. It'll never hit you. You'll never even think to ask that. Was he on drugs? Was he a gang member? It'll never hit you that the dude who shot or stole or did this, who's out here trying to prove he a man, that he ain't no punk. Because he got his booty taken by somebody who was in jail, who mama brought home, because she had self-esteem problems and took any old thing off the street. So when he was 5 and 6 years old, he got his booty taken. Now he feel like everybody calling him a punk. So he got to prove he ain't a punk. So he get a gun and he rob and shoot you and kill you and your husband. And it never dawns on you that when he was 5 years old, he got molested. That's why sexual abuse is the worst one. Because its ripple effect is so goddamn devastating that it can mess up families who don't even know. You don't know the boy who shot you. You don't know his mama. You don't know his daddy. You don't know the man who molested him. You don't know the man who molested the man who molested him. You don't know none of them damn people, and now your husband laying dead in the street because some little boy was sexually molested. Not because he's a thief. Not because he's really a murderer. But because the truth of the matter is he's a victim of sexual molestation. And he's acting out. But was he a gang member? Was he on drugs? Nobody says, listen, find out if that kid was sexually molested. That's why sexual molestation has to be addressed in the church. That's why it is the king in a dangerous jungle of all of the abuses. Because it can impact people who don't even know nothing about nothing. So he victimizes, that's right, Sister Colvin. He's victimizing people because he was a victim. No, you can't connect the dots easily. That's why we have to have these conversations and understand even what the ripple effects of it is. So now here it is, because of a sexual molester and predator, I'm $20,000 poorer. It impacts you in ways you don't know. The little girl at the cash register who's cussing and fussing and never get your order right, you really think she that stupid? Or maybe when she look at you, you favor her mother or her aunt whose husband molested her. You never see you. We don't make those connections. Her nasty attitude. We don't know what she's dealing with back home. She might be working all those hours because she don't want to go home because she knows what's waiting for her at home. That husband, that wife, that boyfriend, that girlfriend that never ever want to go to the family reunion, who cut their children off from one whole entire half of their family. It's a repeating cycle, and it's a never-ending cycle, and it has more tentacles than an octopus. And the people in the church telling me, Pastor, that's sensitive. Other pastors are inboxing me. Pastor, I watched a little bit of your video. I couldn't watch too much. You probably should have left that alone. These preachers and pastors now. And then I share with them the thing about the man in Chicago. Well, you shouldn't have put our brother on blast. You should have prayed for him. Let me tell you, because I almost cussed. That MFA ain't my brother. That's my brother. My brother don't sexually molest nobody. Not my brother. Now, my brother might cuss you out. My brother might bust you upside your head with a bottle, especially if you mess with his little brother. Brent Jeffrey is my brother. I've never met him, but Brent Jeffrey is my brother. Because Brent Jeffrey ain't out molesting people. David Washington is my brother. Because David Washington ain't out molesting people. Now, if an intruder come in David Washington's house and he have to put some buckshots in him, he's still my brother. Because they were trying to take what David Washington provided for his family. My brother wouldn't do nothing that heinous. Not my brother. People that are quick-tempered. That's right, Sister Jackson. People that are quick to say, you know, I ain't going to take this mess and walk away. Because I'm telling you. And so when we are look face to face with somebody, okay. So this happened about 8 years ago, and I don't even know where it came from. I was in a restaurant with some colleagues, men and women, and this waiter, he was being as nasty to me. There was no signs of him being gay or anything. He was being as nasty to me as he could be. Not nobody else. He was overly nice to everybody else. And I barely said 3 words. If you can believe that. Because I wasn't the smartest one in the group, thank God, and I was trying to learn. And I barely said 3 words. Threw my dish at me. I mean, just belligerent. And I said, well, I ain't never coming back to this restaurant again. 1, because I can't afford it. 2, it ain't on my side of town. And 3, because of this service. So I'm never coming back here again. So, you know, and somebody else is picking up the check and I'm learning something, I'll take it. So I got up to go to the restroom, and the Spirit of the Lord said, Willie, when you walk by him, say, I apologize, but I'm not that person. I ain't know this nigga, Lord. I ain't. Willie, when you walk by him, say, hey, I apologize, but I'm not that person. I walked past him, and before I could put my hand on the bathroom door, I doubled back. I said, excuse me. And he gave me all the attitude in the world. I had to say excuse me like 3-4 times. And finally he was like, what? And before I knew it, I was like, I said, I apologize, but I'm not the person. I'm not that person, but I do apologize. And I went into the bathroom. Used the restroom, washed my hands, came out. We finished up dinner, finished up talking. I learned an awful lot. And was walking out. The manager came up to me. He said, excuse me, sir, I said, yeah. He said, could I talk to you for a second in my office? Hey man, they paid the check. I didn't. No. Y'all are ministers. I know them. You and one of my colleagues. I would say, oh yeah, okay. I'll wait for you, Willie. Okay. I go into the manager's office and then I walk in. You can hear somebody crying like bloody murder. I walk in and it's the guy. And he jumps up and he grabs me and messes up my suit. He's crying so bad. I never wore that suit again. And for about 30 minutes, and then I call my friend and he comes in and this guy is just crying for like almost 30, 45 minutes before he can even form words. And he's like, this is my story. This is what happened. And I know you barely said 5 or 6 words, but your voice sounds like this person who did this to me and my brother. And we've confronted him time after time. And this is what we were going to do to him. The next time we went over to my mother's house for Thanksgiving in a few weeks, because all we've ever wanted was an apology. That's all we've ever wanted. And when you said that to me, that's all I've ever wanted. And I just wish it was him. And he said, you have no idea, sir. You saved somebody's life. He wasn't as calm as I am. Because my voice, even though I barely said 3 or 4 words, sounded like that guy's voice. And it reminded him. It took him there. You have no idea. It's not sometimes these people are having a bad day. They are having a bad life. And the cologne you wear, the perfume you wear, the dress you wear, your hairstyle could trigger something in them. Hey, Sister Butler. Sister Jackson, it takes time, it takes patience, but you have to also be patient with yourself. You have to be patient with the people who are trying to help you to heal, and you have to listen to sound advice. Let me tell you, here's the worst question to put up on the internet. How do you heal from sexual abuse? You know how many stupid people you're going to get? Oh, how do you make your relationship with your husband or boyfriend work? You know how much ignorant, yes, and I'm going to say, you know how much ignorant shit you going to hear? If you're really serious, don't ask these questions in public on Facebook. Talk to somebody who seems like they know. And listen to one solid, stable, continuous, reassuring, reaffirming voice. Triggers. And so something we say or do, Sister Jackson, Sister Hodges, can trigger it. Sister Colvin, it can trigger them. It can set them off. And so sometimes simply saying, my brother, my sister, I'm sorry, but if I did anything to you, don't say if I did anything to you, just say, hey, I'm sorry. I apologize. That's it. Don't say, well, I'm sorry if I did. Don't do that. Hey, my brother, my sister, I apologize. I'm not being funny. I apologize and I love you. And I would never hurt you. Try saying that. That might just be the catalyst. to help them even begin to seek the help that they need. But what I do know is this: we as a church, we as a people can no longer sit silently by and not start looking at the impact and the devastation this is causing, and who's funding it, who's allowing it, and who's promoting it. Thank you, Sister Jackson. I'm glad you. And now they got this group. I forget what the initials are, but Men Who Love Boys group. And they are promoting, I put it up on my page, pedophilia. Where if they feel like they 6 or 7 years old in their mind and in their spirit, it's all right for them to have intercourse. And they are lobbying Congress to change the laws to make it okay for grown, stink, funky ass men, to have sex with little boys. And it has made it that there are congressmen, black and white, Republican and Democrat, who've given it serious thought and consideration. They've given it serious thought and consideration, or this group would not have gotten this far. It's worse than foolishness. It's demonic. It's evil. It's satanic. They are lobbying Congress so it can be all right to have sex with little kids. And you won't even be able to press charges. Because they can say, well, I was in the mindset of a 5-year-old when I had the sex with your son. But that's okay. But the black church and black folks saying, oh, we can't, it's a taboo, we can't talk about it. Okay. Y'all tell me when we can talk about it. I'm going to get frozen cryogenically and wake up in 300 years and see if we can talk about it then. If not, I'm going to have them freeze me for another 300 years and wake up then and see it. I mean, when the hell do we start talking about it? When the hell do we start trying to get help for it? When the hell do we confront the people who are doing this? When do we get people who've been victims of it help? The church and black folk, we can't continue to sit silently by. And I refuse to sit silently by. It is wicked. It is evil. Sister Hodges, it is not foolishness. It is not craziness. This is well orchestrated. It is well thought out. Running around with scissors pointed towards you is foolishness. Walking around with the sun out, with a fur coat, sandals on, and smoking newspaper, that's crazy. See, we giving it the wrong names. This is demonic. This is evil. This is wicked. That's what this is. So let's stop calling stuff that's evil, demonic, wicked, crazy, because it's not. Let's give it its proper title. Let's let Satan know we recognize. We recognize this is satanic work. This isn't just craziness. And this is why you got to give stuff its proper title. A little boy went to school a whole year. The teacher calling his name. So right about the almost the middle of the semester, the teacher stopped calling his name and sent the slip down to the principal saying this kid ain't been in school all year. They sent truancy people to the mother house. One of the officers recognized the kid. He said, no, this kid has been to school. He said, well, the lady said she been calling his name. He ain't answer. He can hear this and that. Because at home, they call him Little Jaja. His whole life, they've been calling him Little Jaja. The nigga name is Jamal. So when the teacher was saying Jamal, he ain't say nothing. You know why? Because they call him Jaja at home. Stop calling stuff what it ain't. What it is. Stop giving y'all babies these stupid nicknames. Stop giving sin the name stupidity. It's not stupidity, it's sin. Stop calling demonic stuff crazy foolishness. It's not crazy foolishness. It is demonic. It is evil. It is satanic. Call it what it is. Damn boy was in school every day. Never missed a day. Perfect attendance. The teacher calling Jamal. He think his name Cha-Cha. Ain't he never heard no, he ain't never heard nobody call him no damn Jamal. Yeah, I'm upset. Because we killing ourselves. We killing our kids. We cutting one off before it gets a chance to breathe, and we strangling the hell out of the other. Hey, Brad, what's going on? Hey, Dr. Williams. This issue has to be addressed. Every marriage that ended bad wasn't because both of those people were bad. They just probably had some bad stuff like sexual molestation happen to them that they didn't know how to deal with. Every relationship that ends bad, every man or woman you date ain't no hoe, ain't no hoochie. Every guy ain't got no pimp qualities. That sexual molestation has left a void, and they trying to fill that void with as many sexual conquests as they can to prove that they ain't some punk, or they picking up a gun doing violent stuff because they want to prove I ain't no punk. It's not that she liked the bad boy type. It's nobody was able to protect her, so she figured this thug type will protect me. And we don't talk about the tentacles of sexual molestation and the impact it has on our greater society. Because we as black people, and especially the black church, stay silent on it. And then instead of saying, you know, your Uncle Charles was wrong for doing this, or Mr. Bernard wasn't right for doing this, that's what we say. Listen, your Uncle Charles was demonic and evil. And he caught that demon from the person who molested him. Stop saying, well, you know, Miss James really didn't mean to hurt you. Yes, Miss James did mean to hurt your kid. Yes, she did, because she was hurt. Listen, Miss James meant to hurt you, but here's what we going to do so you don't hurt nobody. We going to talk about it. We going to pray about it. We going to read some books together about it until you get comfortable enough that I'll go with you to a counselor, or I'll go with you to confront the person who did it to you. Because they were evil. They wasn't just wrong, they were evil. Let's stop giving stuff cute names and being cutesy wootsy about it. Do you know why Paul tells us, informs you, that we are not fighting against flesh and blood, but we're fighting against spiritual wickedness and principalities in high places? Because he wants you to fight spiritually. What does Christ do when he fights spiritually? When he sees a demon, he says, you a demon. He don't say, oh, you crazy. Oh, this guy's just crazy. No, hey, demon, get your ass the hell up out of here. Right. We see the demon. Oh, well, they just crazy. Oh, they just foolish. Sister Ralph cracking up at me. But we have to start calling out stuff. If Creflo Dollar tell you name it and claim it your new Bentley, you do that. TD Jakes tell you name it and claim it your new husband and your new house, you go around naming and claiming that. But me and Dr. Williams tell you go around and name and claim, listen, Uncle James, you a child molester. Stay away from my children. You won't go do that. Cousin Barbara, you facilitate letting children get molested at your house. Stop doing it. You won't go do that. But Joyce Meyer tell you, live your best life and go get your pedicure and your manicure and claim you beautiful. You'll do that stupidness. Ooh, Jesus. The me and Dr. Williams tell you the next time they ask you why you don't come to the family reunion, tell the truth. Listen, mama, this is why I don't come to the family reunion. You won't do that. Oh, okay. You're naming and claiming the wrong dang on stuff. Let your yay be yay and your nay be nay. Our society, if we don't deal with it, we won't realize the impact and the tentacles and the reach and the behavior that sexual molestation of the past 2-3 generations, the tentacles and the reach it has. Dr. Williams, I gave an example about how, if a little boy is molested at 5 and he wants to prove he ain't a punk, at 15, he picks up a gun and shoots somebody. And a person who got shot and killed really isn't a victim of a robbery. He's a victim of sexual molestation, even though he was never sexually molested. Because the molester who molests this little boy now got to prove I'm a man. Well, what's the quickest way to prove I'm a man? The gang tell him, pick up a gun and go shoot somebody. So now he trying to prove to the gang he a man for gang initiation night, and he go and shoot and kill somebody. So the boy is a victim of the molester, a direct victim of the abuser, and now your husband, your father, your brother laying in the gutter, indirect, and the police arrest the little boy. Nobody ever make the connection. Was this little boy molested? Why did he do that? Oh, let's try to find out the connection between the victim and the perpetrator. No. Try to find out what has happened in the victim's past. And then set up counseling. For all boys who've been molested, we have a program that helps show you ain't no punk. You think all these little boys who joined gangs wanted to join gangs? You think every little boy who started selling drugs because he want to prove I'm a man. Because something has happened to them. And we're calling it the wrong thing. We're treating the wrong thing. You think the little boys who wear their pants down haven't seen y'all 50 million signs saying that wearing your sagging pants started on a slave plantation to show the white gay slave masters that they were broken and that they were willing to let white men plug them in the booty? You think they haven't read that? They probably the ones who put the information out there as a sign of y'all saying, hey, help us. We've been molested. So we tell them to pull their pants up, but we not pulling up with no information. We not pulling up with no love. We not pulling up with no knowledge. We not pulling up with no healing. You think they don't see y'all 50 million posts on Facebook? You think they don't see the big signs in the store windows, pull your pants? You think they don't see that? Huh? They can read, you know. You think they don't see that? Hey, Reverend Mitchell, they can read. They can see that. You think some of these 50-year-old men don't who wearing their pants, you think they can't read? They can read. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They communicating something to you. But you ain't getting it. You ain't accepting what's being communicated to you. I mean, they'll even have on a 3-piece suit going to work with their pants half their ass showing. There's something else wrong. I'm sorry. My time is up. But this is the topic of conversation for the next few Thoughtful Thursdays. Hopefully, the persons who wanted to share their stories and tell you some of their experiences and how it has impacted and affected their relationships will be able to be on and be with us next week. And we'll have some numbers and some information if you suspect a child is being abused or neglected. A national hotline number to call and try to get them some help. Now, just because you don't like your neighbor, don't call this number reporting your neighbor, because that's very traumatic. Don't do that. Just because you don't like your daughter's baby daddy, don't call reporting your daughter baby daddy saying he doing something to that baby if you ain't got no evidence, no proof, or no signs, just to be mean and evil. Because there are real cases out there that these people need to address and get to. Don't call on people just to be spiteful and evil and mean. Don't do that. There's a real serious case, there's a real situation, then you call, then you report it. But don't say, ooh, you know what? I know how to get such and such. She stole my boyfriend. Oh, I know how I'm going to get that heifer who stole my husband, who was messing with my husband. Don't do that. Because, see, this ain't no game. Well, if they house dirty, must be something. No, she might just be a damn filthy ass slob. I don't know. So just because they house dirty, don't call on people saying, oh, Miss such and such letting her kids get sexually abused. Now, don't do that. Because this is no game. Please don't do that. This is no joke. If a child or somebody has come to you and said something or suggested, and you do the very best investigation you can and explain to the child or whoever, okay, now, here's what's going to happen. I have to report it. I'm going to report it. But are you certain your uncle, your father, your mother, your sister, your brother, your whomever is doing X, Y, and Z to you? Are you sure you're not mad because you didn't get a bicycle for Christmas? Because these people are going to come and separate your family. This is no joke. Don't laugh it off. Don't let nobody be alone with your child, your niece, your nephew. Damn girls' night out or boys' night out. Damn mommy pampering day. Mm-mm. Take back control of your family. Save our children today. Let's be soft. See, everybody trying to be hard. Let's be soft. Save our future today. Soft. I'm soft. I'm not hard. Now I can be mean as hell, but I'm still soft. Save our future today. Save our women today. Save our children today. Save our black men today. Save our sons. Save our daughters today. Please. Stop trying to be so hard and be a little soft. Saving our future today. Listen, God bless you. Good night. Heaven smile on you. I'll see you tomorrow morning for the weekly wrap up, our Friday morning wrap up in prayer at 9 a.m. And then we'll see you back again on Sunday morning for our word from the Lord. Amen. God bless you. Heaven smile on you. Any questions, comments, or concerns, please don't hesitate to inbox me, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thank you. God bless. Good night.